Hey guys, welcome to week 10 of our James study. Today we're going to be talking about an oppressor and a laborer. So, we should be a laborer and not an oppressor. Now, what does that mean? What is an oppressor? So, James 5 1 through 6 clarifies this, saying, "Come now, you rich, weep and howl for the miseries that are coming upon you. Your riches have rotted, and your garments are moth eaten. Your gold and silver have corroded, and their corrosion will be evidence against you, and will eat your flesh like fire. You have laid up treasure in the last days. Behold, the wages of the laborers who mowed your fields, which you kept back by fraud, are crying out against you, and the cries of the harvesters have reached the ears of the Lord of hosts. You have lived on earth in luxury and in self-indulgence. You have fattened your hearts in a day of slaughter. You have condemned and murdered the righteous person. He does not resist you." So these are really harsh words from James in this verse. I mean, he really condemns the people who are selfish and greedy with their wealth. But this isn't a blanket statement against rich people. It is specifically talking about those with a selfish desire for riches. James condemns those who are greedy, self-sovereign, which we've talked about before, which means relying on yourself and not God, and selfish people. We're not to want worldly pleasures and things over God. When we idolize those things, that's where the problem lies. Matthew 16:26 through 27 says, "What will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? Or what shall a man give in return for his soul? For the Son of Man is going to come with his angels in the glory of his Father, and then he will repay each person according to what he has done." So the question this verse raises is this: what are you going to offer God on the day of judgment? All of the money or the belongings in the world will not save you. The only way to be through God is through his Son, Jesus Christ. None of those other things matter. It doesn't matter if you have a fancy car, a nice house, a boat, any of those things that, we see people with that, have a lot of money or, are doing well for themselves. Like, all of those things mean nothing in the end. All of those possessions. And so when we look at that, this isn't a condemnation of having those things. This isn't saying, oh, you're bad to, make a comfortable wage or anything like that. That's not the point of what these verses are saying. What the point is that when we put those things over God and we don't do the work that God has for us in this life, which is working to honor him, there's no point. There's nothing we can offer him when this day is over. All of that doesn't matter. He's not going to be like, well, you didn't give your life to me, but you have a nice house, so I guess it's all okay. And that's the point. And so that would be being an oppressor in terms of the verse talks about, stealing from your laborers, stealing from those who work for you. Basically just being greedy, oppressing through greed. And then the opposite of that is being a laborer. So what is a laborer? Matthew 6:19 through 21 says, "Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." So in these verses, Jesus is saying that when we worry about the amount of wealth we have here on earth, we aren't set for eternity because all of those things will one day fade away. When we put our trust in him, that lasts forever. No matter what it is we have, it means nothing at the end of the day. So this lesson is not meant to say that wealth is inherently evil. After all, God does provide us with blessings in our lives which often have a monetary value. We might be blessed to have a nice house or a nice car or whatever it may be. And yeah, those things do cost money. And that is a blessing from God that we have those things in our life. But the problem lies in the idolization of wealth. When we put anything earthly before God, our priorities are out of whack. To be a good laborer is to work for God and not for worldly possessions. So that's what being a laborer is doing that work to honor God, doing the things that he has for us to do on earth, whether that be, sharing his message or, helping others in need. Those types of things are what we're here for. That's our work. And we shouldn't be doing it for money. We should be doing it to honor God. Colossians 3:23 through 24 says, "Whatever you do, work heartily, as for the Lord and not for men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the inheritance as your reward. You are serving the Lord Christ. Paul is saying in these verses the point of today's lesson, which is that we should work to glorify God and not for ourselves. Work was something that existed before the fall of man, when we, gave into our sinly, or when Adam and Eve, ate the fruit and sin came into the world. Work existed before then. We've always been placed on this earth to work. However, it just became a burden after that point. But we've always had a job here as, the children of God. Whatever we do is more than a means to provide for ourselves, but to honor God. When we begin to see our work as a means to glorify God instead of a way to gain more for ourselves, our relationship with wealth and material possessions changes. So that should be our perspective, is to honor God with our work. So our prayer today should be to have God, ask God to help set our minds on Him, set our minds towards His mission for us, and not those worldly desires. And that's it for today. I know it's kind of a short lesson, but this is a pretty straightforward message. And we'll be back with week 11, and also a quick reminder of our meeting September 30th at 7 p.m. That's a Wednesday. We'll be talking about an upcoming trip and the return of youth lessons. All right, guys, have a good one, and I'll see you soon.